You are not just picking a voice assistant here. You are deciding how your home reacts to you every day. Alexa, Google, Apple, and they all seem to do the same thing but control things differently. And once you build around one system, switching later is not impossible, but it does take effort. So it is worth getting this right from the start. So let's see how they are in daily life. So before we compare names, let's slow down and understand what is actually happening behind the scenes. Every smart home setup follows a chain. You have a device, maybe a light or a lock. That device talks through a protocol like Matter protocol, Thread, Zigbee, or Wi-Fi. Then it connects to a hub like an Echo, Nest Hub, or Apple TV. And finally, you control it through an app or voice assistant. Now here is what changed recently. Matter made it possible for one device to work across multiple ecosystems. So a smart plug can sit inside Alexa, Google Home, and Apple Home at the same time. That is called multi-admin, and it is a big shift. But here's the part people miss. Even if the device works everywhere, the experience is not the same everywhere. Response time, automation depth, privacy, all depend on the ecosystem you choose as your main controller. So the question is not what works, it is what works best for how you live. Let's spend a bit more time on Amazon Alexa because this is still the most widely used system. If you walk into someone's smart home setup, there is a good chance it runs on Alexa. And that comes down to one thing: flexibility. It supports over 140,000 devices. That includes everything from basic Wi-Fi plugs to Zigbee-based sensors and full security systems like Ring. Devices like Echo Show 8 or Aqara Hub even act as built-in smart home hubs. They support Matter, Thread, and Zigbee in one unit, which removes the need for separate bridges. Now in 2026, Alexa Plus adds a more predictive layer. It can suggest routines based on patterns. For example, if you turn off lights at a certain time every night, it may suggest automating that. It also integrates deeply with Prime services, shopping, and media. But there are trade-offs, and they are real. Most processing happens in the cloud. That means if your internet goes down, some automations stop working. Voice recordings are stored remotely unless you manually change settings. And now some advanced features require a subscription. So Alexa works best if you want a wide device range, simple setup, and you are okay with cloud dependency in exchange for convenience. Now when we move to Google Home, the conversation shifts toward intelligence. This system feels more context-aware. With Gemini integration, it handles natural language better than anything else right now. You can chain commands in a more human way, and it understands intent, not just keywords. Devices like Nest Hub 2nd generation and Nest Wi-Fi Pro act as Thread border routers, which helps create a stable mesh network for devices like sensors and bulbs. Nest cameras bring AI-based detection so it can tell the difference between a person, a package, or general motion. There is also strong integration with Google services. Calendar, Maps, YouTube, all feed into your routines, so your home can react based on your schedule without you setting everything manually. But here's where it gets a bit tricky. As of early 2026, Google Home is still on an older Matter version. That limits support for newer device categories like robot vacuums through Matter. Also, most of its intelligence depends on cloud processing, similar to Alexa. And then there is the long-term question. Google has discontinued hardware lines before, so some users stay cautious. So Google Home is a strong pick if you want smarter voice interaction and you already live inside Google's ecosystem, especially on Android. Now stepping into Apple HomeKit, this one feels different from the ground up. The biggest shift here is local processing. If you use an Apple TV 4K or HomePod as your hub, automations run inside your home network. That means faster response and more privacy. Lights turn on instantly because there is no cloud round trip. HomeKit Secure Video also processes camera footage locally. Even Apple cannot access it. That level of privacy is still unmatched. Thread support is another strong point. Apple has one of the most stable Thread implementations, which creates a self-healing mesh network for low-power devices like sensors and locks. but it is not perfect. Device compatibility is still more limited compared to Alexa. Siri, while improving, does not handle complex commands as well as Google, and you need Apple hardware to even begin, which raises the entry cost. So HomeKit makes the most sense if you are already using iPhone and you want a system that feels fast, private, and consistent without relying on cloud services. Now let's bring in Samsung SmartThings, which plays a different role. Instead of competing directly with voice assistants, it acts more like a bridge. It supports Matter 1.4, Thread, and integrates with a wide range of devices. More importantly, it can connect Alexa, Google, and even some Apple setups under one system. If you have Samsung devices like TVs, refrigerators, or washing machines, SmartThings is already built in. That creates a unified control layer without needing extra apps. Automation here is fairly capable. You can create routines based on multiple conditions like time, presence, and device state. But voice is not its strength. You usually pair it with Alexa or Google for that part. Also, setup can feel a bit more complex compared to Alexa. It is not difficult, but it is less guided. So SmartThings works best in mixed device homes, especially if you already use Samsung hardware and want everything in one place. Now for the most advanced option, Home Assistant. This is where you get full control over everything. It runs locally on your own hardware, supports thousands of integrations, and works with almost every protocol. Zigbee, Z-Wave, Matter, all in one system. Automation depth here is on another level. You can build layered conditions like adjusting lights based on time, weather, occupancy, and energy usage altogether. Recent updates improved the interface so it is more approachable than before. There is even a visual automation editor now. But still, it requires time and interest. You might need to manage updates, configure integrations, and occasionally troubleshoot. There is no official support line, just community help. So this is ideal if you enjoy building systems and you want full ownership of your data and setup. Now let's talk about actual devices, because this is where decisions become practical. Matter-supported devices like Nanoleaf Essentials bulbs or Eve energy plugs work across all ecosystems. They use Thread or Wi-Fi, and many do not require separate hubs. A device like Aqara Hub M200 can bridge Zigbee devices into Matter, which expands compatibility across systems. In a real home, you might run something like this: Apple HomeKit as your main system for privacy and local control, paired with Alexa as a secondary voice layer for convenience, or Google Home as primary for AI features with SmartThings handling device-level integration. This hybrid approach is becoming more common because Matter allows it. So when it comes down to it, it is less about specs and more about how you actually live day to day. If you want something simple and flexible, then Amazon Alexa feels like the easiest way in. But if you care more about natural conversations, then Google Home starts to feel smarter over time. Now, if privacy and fast local response matter to you, then Apple HomeKit is hard to overlook. And if your setup is a mix of brands, then Samsung SmartThings can bring everything into one place. On the other hand, if you like full control and do not mind a bit of setup, then Home Assistant goes much deeper. So yeah, whichever way you go, keep it simple at first. Start with a light or a plug, try a couple of routines, and then build from there. That was all. Thanks for watching. If you found it helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more videos. And don't forget to share your experience in the comments.